My oh my, technology is moving fast, and I for one am feeling a wee bit overwhelmed, just a little bit. Today we're going to be discussing something that has been keeping me up at night for the last 3 weeks, and that is the topic of AI art. Now, I am a children's book illustrator, and the thought of AI art is admittedly a little terrifying, but I'm not gonna lie, the things that I'm seeing right now, I mean, it's impressive, but it does make me feel a little bit, will I be out of a job? And I've been seeing a lot of YouTube videos from a lot of different people talking about like, oh, everything's fine, AI isn't gonna replace artists, everything is okay, and I'm like, I don't feel that way. I feel as if we are at a crux of a whole new idea of art, and that the world and the industry of art that we know it right now is eventually going to become obsolete, in my opinion. Maybe. We'll see. So sit back, grab yourself something to drink, and let's dive in. So let's start at the beginning. What is AI art? Well, they are programs that use an algorithm where you can type in a text prompt and it creates an image for you by scouring the internet for reference images in order to compile a piece based on the prompt you provide. So if I type in girl holding a balloon at sunset, it'll do that. And there are 3 big ones that are getting a lot of traction and a lot of talk right now. That is dall-e, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion. And this is an advancement in tech that I never could have imagined. Like, you just type in a couple words and it pops out an image, and I'm just like, wow! It's giving Black Mirror. It's giving Blade Runner. It's giving me a migraine. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in, especially as somebody who just left his day job to pursue book illustration. This is admittedly a lot to process. And I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. And a big question that's come up in the whole AI art thing is, does it even count as art? Now, I'm not here to define that. I'm not here to gatekeep and say what is or isn't art. I might have my own personal opinions about what I consider it to be, but I'm not going to tell anybody what they think. That is not the purpose of this video. This is truly just to have a discussion about this as a whole. But I will be honest, my opinions about it are mixed. I think it depends on how AI is used and the integrity that is put behind the creation of an image. And the concept of AI is absolutely nothing new. I mean, there are so many apps that use AI technology like Acorns or other financial apps that track your monetary progress. And in other ways, I mean, we've been introducing technology into like grocery stores with self-checkouts, and that has been slowly, taking away jobs from cashiers. And as many people in the industry keep saying, technology is just going to keep progressing. And this isn't just with visual art. There are AI programs for writing, for music. It is coming for all creative fields, and it is wild to take in, because for me, I always felt that if robots took over, creativity was like the one thing that was just so purely human, and that a robot could never do that. And now I'm like, oh, cool. That's fine. This is fine. My whole purpose and sense of being is just a pile of code to you. That's fine. that's okay. I feel great. I'm fine. But yeah, there are just so many different types of programs for basically any creative field. There's a YouTuber called Phil for the Win, and he had a video about making an entire graphic novel in one day. And he used an AI to do the illustrations and to write it out for him, and he made it. And that's what happened. And good golly, Miss Molly, it's not perfect, but that made me feel the entire rainbow of emotions. Yeah, it's just wild. And that's where we're at right now. The cat is out of the bag, and this is the new stage in technology and art evolution. And I've looked at a lot of videos, as I said, I looked at a lot of things on social media, and I see a lot of like common arguments about AI art. A lot of people say, oh, it's just a tool, it's not going to take over anything, it's just like Photoshop. It'll never replace humans, that's so silly. And I'm like, no, it's not just a tool. A hammer is a tool. It doesn't just build a house for you. You have to still get the wood and the nails and like put them together and hammer them and then put it next to concrete. And okay, this analogy is falling apart, but you know what I mean. It's not just a tool. It can be used as a tool, but it's not just a tool. You can just type in a prompt, have it make the image for you, and call it a day. You can just leave it at that, and that's it. It's not a tool in the same way that something like Photoshop is a tool, or rather Photoshop is like a collection of tools. Photoshop and Procreate or Clip Studio Paint don't just make the art for you. The artist or the creator using it still has to choose the brushes that they use, the colors that they use, and make a ton of other decisions to make the piece come to life. Yes, they can use like filters and overlay layers, but they are still making choices to bring the piece to creation. An AI can just make an image in just a few seconds, and it doesn't need to be edited afterward. It can be perfect all on its own, and that's where I feel like it's not the same. People also say like, oh, it's just industrialization, you just have to get used to it, we have to move on. It's like when photography came in and it like displaced portrait artists, and I'm like, yes, things evolve and technology comes into place, but things like photography came in over a period of time. It didn't just happen. Like, the technology that's of today is advancing at such a wild rate. It's so fast that it's hard to catch up to it, because things are just like hit the ground running and you're gone. In those olden times, like, people had a minute to adjust and discover what this was about. Also, I just moved my water filter because apparently my camera wanted to focus on that instead of me. You scoundrel! I'm the center of attention! Maybe my camera got angry that I've been talking badly about robots. Another argument I see is people being like, oh, well, if a machine could do your job, you shouldn't have had that job in the first place. What? That is just such an ignorant and nasty and soulless thing to say. Every single job can be replaced with automation when the technology is good enough. Every single job, okay? So if you're one of those people who say something like that, don't sit there on your high and mighty horse, because one day technology is going to be good enough where it can take over every job. And without a universal basic income, humans are going to be screwed. So I would encourage you to go outside, touch some grass, commune with nature, and maybe develop a soul. Okay, alright, moving on. I also see a whole bunch of artists on YouTube and people leaving comments being like, oh, AI art looks soulless, it'll never have like the human element to it, it'll never replace that feeling, like you can just tell, like it doesn't have the same quality. And I'm like, okay, sure, okay, look at this. You tell me which one is the human and which one is the AI. I'll give you a minute. Okay, you got it? You're good? Great. Because that was a trick question, because they're both AI and they're both beautiful. I mean, this stuff is great, and it just, I'm not gonna lie, it's striking, and some of it is beautiful, and it's a shame because people are just going to want something pretty and something fast. And my personal favorite argument is, oh, it can't do this, it can't do that, you're safe, we're fine, it can't do all these things. And I'm like, yeah, yet. This stuff it's so crazy. It is getting so good so quickly that it'll be able to do all of those things that you say it can't do. So I think it's really ignorant to just be like, oh, you're fine now, like it's fine. I'm like, no, we're staring at an avalanche that's coming down and we have to run. We're like, do something, but we can't just say, oh, it's not going to hit us, because eventually it will. One way or another, it's going to have all the capabilities, and we can't just pretend like it's not. And on that fun note, let's get into what I think are the good stuff. I do think there is a place, and there are good things about AI art. I really want to underscore that I don't want people to think like I hate the idea of this. I hate the idea of this in conjunction with our capitalistic society. But that's another discussion. Things that I think that this could be good for are people who are disabled, or people who have something that prevents them from utilizing physical tools in order to be able to create artwork. I feel like this will be a really wonderful opportunity for people to be able to express their imagination. I think that this could offer a whole new level of access for people, and I think in that way it's really exciting. Another thing I think this could be good for is for people with aphantasia, which is a condition where people cannot picture something in their mind's eye. So I think that using AI art programs to help them visualize something that they want to draw and then paint based on that in their own style could be a great reference point for them. Hello, editing me here. I also forgot to mention that I think this technology will be really cool in helping make animation easier and more accessible, as well as visual effects. I think we could see a bunch of new artists using this to make animations or videos and explore their creativity in that way. But I also recognize that technology in those sectors is going to have an impact on the animation and visual effects industries currently, which leads to my next point. The big bad of it all. A lot of people's first concern when it comes to this, whether it's the friends that I've been speaking to or the people who I follow on social media, have expressed, how is this going to affect the job market? How is this going to affect concept artists who work for animation studios or individual artists who get their income from commissions? Ultimately, I do see that this is going to displace a lot of people. I don't think it's going to displace everybody. I don't think it's going to take every single job away, but I think it's going to have a huge impact in the coming year. It's happening, and that's really scary, and it really sucks. I mean, you'll still need somebody to put in the prompt, to edit it afterward and operate the algorithm. Like, I still think that there will be people needed, but I think teams are going to be very much shortened down, because why would you hire a team of like 20 concept artists to work on a couple of things when you can hire maybe 4 to use an AI to do hundreds of times more the work in significantly less time? And when it comes to artists who do commissions like portraits or other things like that, I think that it's definitely going to impact them, because why would you hire an artist when you can just make it yourself for free or for very little cost? And I get that as a consumer, but it breaks my heart as an artist. It's a very gray area, and I don't have like the right things to say, because I understand it just sucks. Another thing that I'm still up in the air about, but something that I've heard, is, does this democratization, is that a word? I don't know. It is now. Does the democratization of art and creativity inherently devalue art? And following that up with, what makes art valuable in the first place? For me, it's a marriage of who creates it, the end product, and the story that is being told with the visual image. Personally, I have always felt that not enough people value art. I mean, people love, like, films are art, music is art, but like book illustration or paintings of portraits, like, that's not looked in the same regard, at least from my experience. And it was really hard trying to show people, like, this is valuable, this is why. Working with people and saying, like, oh, why does it cost so much? I just always felt that people didn't really have an understanding or an appreciation for creativity and art. But then we get NFTs, and we have all of these people pumping money, hundreds of dollars worth of Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, into these, I'm trying to be so polite and professional, into these NFTs, and it always baffled me and annoyed me. It annoyed me that they blew up and people loved them. Thought that they were amazing and the way of the future and whatnot, and I'm like, cool, people will spend X amount of money on that, but won't commission an artist to paint something for them. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things should go straight to hell. It just makes my blood boil. Another thing is copyright. AI programs scour the internet and search up artwork to be able to then churn out these images based on prompts. And a lot of people are up in arms at the fact that they're using copyrighted material to create new work. And the counter argument for that is, well, artists study other artists and observe and use elements of their styles to develop their own sense of art, so it's the same thing. I also don't like that you can just make things in the style of somebody else, like Van Gogh. Like this is nuts. This is nuts. This makes me uncomfortable. And on that note of copyright, there's an artist named Chris Kashtanova who created a graphic novel using Midjourney. They wrote it themselves, but the images were done using Midjourney, and they were able to get copyright registration for their graphic novel, which is completely, it's unprecedented. It makes me feel a lot of things. I don't know if you have thoughts, please let me know. If you work in the legal field, please let me know. I would love to know your thoughts. It's a lot. It's a lot. A lot. Okay, to wrap it all up, let's discuss my overall thoughts about this. It does break my heart a little bit. Honestly, I feel disheartened that this dream that I've had for so long, and to think that just as I'm starting to delve into it, I can already see it ending in just a few years' time. And I know it's not going to disappear tomorrow, and I know people will still want books and people will still want stories, but I just don't know how to stay motivated. I don't know how to continue working on this when I know that the end is coming. But we will soldier on. I think that the art industry as we know it will get a major facelift. I think the further that we push into a digital world and the further that we go into the metaverse, I think that there will be more opportunities for people to have jobs in like augmented reality and virtual reality. And I think that it could open up a whole new area of jobs in those fields. But I do think that the art industry as we know it is in for a major shakeup. I hope I will always have a place, and I hope that people will be interested in what I have to say, which, by the way, feel free to subscribe. I hope that I can make this work for as long as I can, and people are interested in what I have to say and the art that I make. And on that note, I will make a case for that. People will always want handmade things. People will always want tactile, artisan-made products. We have like IKEA, Target, Walmart that sell furniture, but people still will go on Etsy and look for, not cobblers. Not cobblers. Who makes furniture? Carpenters. That's what it is. Carpenters. People will still go and look for people to make handmade furniture. So I do think that there will always still be a market. I just think that it'll be a smaller pool of people who will be successful in that area. And ultimately, I don't hate the idea of AI. I think that when it is used for art, if it is used with integrity, if it is made with thoughtfulness, I think it could be interesting, and I think it could be a cool way to expand on what we've known art to be. And ultimately, I think it comes down to what your story is. Who are you as an artist, as a creator? What inspires you? What is it that you're trying to say? What is it you are trying to capture and tell to the next generation of people? Like for me, when it comes to my artwork, I want to instill a sense of magic and whimsy and inspire people to discover the beauty and the magic in the mundane and within themselves. That's what drives my drawings and my paintings, and that's what drives my videos. And I think it's so important now, more than ever, since high quality art will be available to basically everybody, it is so important to make yourself stand out. And I think part of that is discovering what your purpose is, what your story is as an artist. I think in doing that, you can culminate a following and culminate a community of people who will be interested in you, not just because of the art that you make, but also because of the story that you're telling and who you are. People will always want to relate to a person. I think it is so important now to relate to other people. As we push further and faster into technology, we cannot forget to relate to each other on a human level. And I hope that we can come to a place where all forms of art can be accepted. But yeah, I don't want this to be a one-sided conversation. I would love to know what you have to say, especially if you are a traditional artist or you work with AI programs, or if you are a complete outsider and just are interested in this topic. I don't want this to be just me talking. I really would love to hear from other people. And again, I'm not here to judge, even though I do have my strong feelings about NFTs. But I just want to say thank you for listening and for being here. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful, magical day. Go touch some grass while we have it. Before the earth burns up and the robots take over and everyone's dead. Go outside, and I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.